Hi everyone, and thank you for tuning into my channel where I talk about stocks, the stock market, and investing. I post videos daily, so if this sounds like something you want to get more of, feel free to subscribe. Alright, in today's video, I'm going to answer the question if Costco stock is a buy. I'm going to be using my simplified 6-step framework to answer that question. Before the video is finished, you'll have your answer. Let's get right into it. The first step in my framework is the customer value. And Costco offers usually the best prices on bulk sized items, but they have fewer selections in their store. For instance, if you're shopping for cereal, you're not going to find 25 different brands of cereal in their cereal section. What you will find is 5 or 6 different cereal brands in big boxes. Okay, so a little different than what you would see in a regular grocery store where you might have 40 different cereal boxes. So, and that's Costco's philosophy across its all the items that it sells. Fewer selection, bigger sizes, offering lowest prices competitively. They run on a membership model. Their membership fees are $60 for the basic version or $120 annually. The $120 membership gives members 2% cash back on their purchases. Um, they have a really good membership retention rate, typically averaging over 90% of their customers renew every year. So clearly, customers are finding value in their shopping experience. They're willing to pay an annual fee for the privilege to shop at Costco. And its revenues solidify that evidence that customers find great value in Costco. Its sales have increased from 99 billion to 196 billion from 2012 to 2021. The next step in my framework are unit economics, and Costco operates on thin, very thin profit margins that generate lots of profit due to rapid turnover. So instead of selling a single item for a high profit, they prefer to sell lower profit items, but they sell it more often. And so that's their strategy for earning good profits. And it has worked for them so far. Their operating income has more than doubled from 2.7 billion to 6.7 billion from 2012 to 2021, and they've averaged a relatively small gross profit margin of 13% during that time. The next step in my framework is the total addressable market. I like companies that have massive market opportunities, and Costco has one of the most massive in the universe of stocks that I follow. According to the US Census Bureau, retail sales totaled 5.6 trillion in the US in 2020. The US is Costco's primary market, but it has operations in several other countries, including Canada and in China, a small size in China, but it is expanding there. So a total addressable market more than 5.6 trillion for Costco. The next step in my framework considers competition, and Costco's industry is fiercely competitive with established rivals including Amazon, Walmart, Target, and more. The competition here is based on several factors. Costco focuses on being the lowest price provider. Amazon and Target focus on offering the greatest fulfillment options, right? Amazon is trying to get your items to you when you buy it online faster and faster. It used to be 2 day shipping. They're trying to get to next day shipping, and eventually they're trying to get to same day shipping in a lot of cities. So that's the area they're focused on. And Target has done really well with their same day fulfillment services. The buy online and pick up in store, buy online, drive into a Target parking lot and have the employee bring it to your car. Those are really, really popular services that's gaining traction with consumers. So there's competition based on that because that requires billions in investment to roll those out. And also there's competition based on selection, which store carries the most items. Costco, as I mentioned earlier, does not attempt to have the greatest selection. Instead, it focuses on having the lowest prices. And then there's competition based on convenience. So, fiercely competitive industry, and you can understand why. With the total addressable market approaching 6 trillion, you can understand why so many businesses so many powerhouses are interested in gaining market share here. Valuation is the next step and arguably one of the more important steps in my framework. And according to Costco's price to earnings ratio, the stock is expensive. Looking back at its previous 10 years, Costco now is trading at a price to earnings of 39.6, which is on the higher end of where it has traded at in the past 10 years. It's down a little bit from the peak of 48, a PE of 48 it was trading at earlier in 2022, but at a PE of 39.6, the stock is expensive. The final step in my framework considers risks. And one of the risks facing Costco right now is that consumers are spending more of their time and money on away from home experiences like restaurants, travel, concerts, ball games, things like that, after being cooped up at home for almost 2 years. Folks are shifting their budgets to those kinds of items, and those are not areas that Costco excels at. These are not areas that Costco develops a lot of sales and revenue from. So if this trend continues, it could pressure Costco's revenues and profits. And then the second risk I note here is the rising cost of goods and wages are threatening for all businesses, but especially for Costco because it operates on such thin profit margins that it doesn't have much wiggle room to absorb these higher costs. So this is an elevated risk for Costco. All right, now that we've looked at all of the factors, let's look at what grade I would give Costco in each of those steps. For customer value, I give Costco an A plus, right? Lowest prices, great membership retention, revenue growth of over 100 billion in the last decade, clear evidence of excellent customer value. I gave them an A plus there. Unit economics, I also give them an A plus. They might be earning thin profit margins, but their turnover has been so good. They're so good at merchandising that they're earning healthy growth in overall operating profits, and so I gave them an A plus there. Total addressable market approaching 6 trillion. A plus there, undoubtedly, no question about that grade. Competition, I gave them a B. Normally, with an industry with this level of intense competition, I would give a lower grade, but I gave Costco some credit here because of their ability to compete effectively. They've been dealing with this competition with Walmart, with Target, with Amazon for the entire decade, for more than 2 or 3 decades with Walmart and Target. And despite that high degree of competition, they've been successful. So despite the competition, they're successfully competing. And so they get a good grade for that, for evidence of winning in this game, in this difficult game. So they get a B uh, in that regard there. They get higher than what I would normally give a competitor in this industry. Risks, I gave Costco a B here. Revenue and profits surged since the pandemic onset because folks had fewer places where they could spend their money. Costco was one of the prime beneficiaries of that. Now that people are spending more of their money on away from home experiences, that's a near term risk for Costco. And then finally, I gave Costco's valuation a C plus. The stock is expensive. Any way you look at it, it's expensive. You could argue that it's justified, the valuation, the premium valuation, because it's such an excellent performer in an excellent industry and all of that. but I would still say that the stock is expensive. Looking at its past 10 years, it's on the higher end of the range, so I would give it a C plus here. So now that we've looked at all the grades in each step of my framework, it's time to answer the question, is Costco's stock a buy? Costco's stock is not a buy. Despite its excellent total addressable market and excellent customer value proposition, the expensive valuation, elevated near-term risk, and high competition in the industry sways me in favor of telling investors to wait for valuation to pull back a little bit before starting a position in Costco. All right, so that's all I've got for Costco. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And stay tuned for the next installment of Is This Stock a Buy? Thank you for watching.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. You all know how much I love researching new stocks and trying to find the next best investment. So I'm proud to partner with the Motley Fool to bring you 10 stock picks from their popular Stock Advisor. Stock Advisor has beat the market by more than 250%. Go to fool.com/Parkev to get your 10 stock picks now.